Hey all, so today, or rather tonight, it's a little late, I'm going to be showing you how to encrypt a flash drive so that stuff you have on there remains your own. No one can look into it without your permission. So first you want to insert a blank flash drive and we're going to do a quick format. Make sure this is a quick format and we'll just name it whatever you want, default allocation size. And very important is we want our file system to be a NTFS. And then we go ahead and format that. It'll erase all the data on there, so make sure that you don't have any data that you aren't comfortable with being erased. Okay, now that we've completed our format, you can just go in here. There's some system volume information, but don't worry about that. That's just a hidden system file there. Now that that's erased, what we want to do is, if you don't have it already, you want to download a file called TrueCrypt. Now, once you have that downloaded, you navigate to the folder that it's located in. I believe it's under 32-bit. If not, oh, maybe it is 64. There you go. So it'll be under program files. Looks like this one's a 64-bit version. And basically what you want to do is you want to take everything within this TrueCrypt folder and you want to copy it and go ahead and paste it into your flash drive. There you go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make an encrypted drive. So to do that, we just run truecrypt.exe, and right now what we're going to do is we're going to say create volume, and we want to create an encrypted file container, standard TrueCrypt volume. And what we're going to do is we're going to save it to our flash drive, F, and we'll just name it TrueCrypt volume. Name it whatever you really want. It doesn't matter. I name it TrueCrypt volume. So then we do save. Next, I go with AES encryption. You can go with whatever you really want. It doesn't matter. And then you're gonna go ahead, and we see that the free space on the drive here is about 3.68 gigs. So what we're gonna do is give it 3.5 gigabytes, which, if my head math is correct, 3.5 gigabytes should be around 3584 megabytes. Okay, and then you put in the password that you want, and I'll just put a default little weak password. I suggest making it a little longer. Now go ahead and do next, and then what you want to do is just randomly move your mouse around on the screen for a little bit. Make sure that the file system is NTFS instead of FAT. And now we're going to go ahead and format. And once that's done, I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so now that it's been encrypted, you click OK, and then we go ahead and click exit. And now what we should notice is you have a big file here called TrueCrypt volume that takes up the majority of the space on here. And I leave a little bit of extra space in case you want a file or two on there not to be encrypted. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make a GUI for this that just kind of makes this hands-off, so you don't have to go in here every time and run TrueCrypt manually and then uncrypt it in that way. And then we're going to hide all this so that it looks like just the GUI manages all this. So go ahead and open up a IDE. I'm using Visual Studio 2012. Pretty cool. And start a new project. And what we want, I believe, is Visual C Sharp. Let's see where that is. There we go, right here, Visual C#, and then we want a Windows Forms application. And go ahead and name this whatever you want to name it. I'm going to name mine temp2, but name it something that's sort of pertinent, such as encrypt manage or something like that, because your exe is going to be named that. I guess you could always rename it, but name it whatever you want. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and make a new thing there. And so with our form, what we want is, I mean, you can manage the settings the way you want it. I know on mine, my other one, what I have is where you can't minimize or where you can't maximize it because there'd be no point. But let's make this pretty small and then name it whatever you want to. You can do all this under properties here. But go ahead and double click on it. And that's going to go ahead and pop up the actual code for this. And we want to add, I believe, a few things here. We have model data. What we want to add is system diagnostics, because we're going to be dealing with processes. Diagnostics. And then we also, I believe we want to add, after link, this doesn't matter where you put this, I just like putting it in order here. System.runtime interop services. That'll help us handle the processes more easily. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we have our form load. You can leave this blank. What we want to do is go ahead and add some text and 2 buttons. So we're going to give them 2 options. And those options are going to be, go ahead and open up our toolbox here. We'll give them 1 button here, and we'll give them a 2nd button here, and we'll give them some text so that they know what's going on right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and edit the text here, and we'll say fine label 1, whatever. That'll be the name, and then our text will actually be, we'll just say, what do you want to do? Okay, and then we'll have button 1 be our decrypt. So we'll say decrypt drive. And then button 2, we'll just leave it at decrypt actually. You can change the width of the buttons, whatever you want on your own time. I'm just going to go ahead and let you know how to actually do this. Encrypt. Okay, so you have our 2 options here. So when they want to decrypt the drive, just double click on that button and it'll automatically make your stub code there. So when we want to decrypt, what we want to do is create a new process, and let's call it decryptor, and that's going to be a new process. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make a batch file, and what this process is going to do is it's going to run it. So we're going to do decryptor, if I can spell, okay, decryptor dot start info dot file name equals, and we're going to name our batch file decrypt.bat, and we'll do that after we go ahead and get this going. And then we're going to start decryptor. So there we go. Okay. Now for the other one, for encrypt, we're going to have, again, process encryptor equals new process. This is some pretty simple process stuff. If you want to learn more about processes, go ahead and feel free to comment, and I'll say, you know, what you want to learn about them. And I can go ahead and upload something for that. They're actually very useful. We'll name the encryption text encrypt.bat. Okay, and then we want to start encryptor. Okay, so now that we have that, go ahead and save. This should compile just fine if you do start. Yep, there you go. So right now this will throw an error because there is no decrypt in the same directory, but that's good. Now what we want to do is we want to change our debug to release, and we're gonna go ahead and build that. Once we have that done, we're done with Visual Studio. What we need to do is go ahead and open up File Explorer and navigate to where we saved that, which for me is under Projects, or oops, Visual Studio 2012, Projects, Temp 2, and it'll be under Bin and then Release. And then what you want to do is go ahead and copy this exe over to your drive. And go ahead and paste it there. There we go. So that'll be our GUI manager. Pretty simple, pretty easy. When you double click on it, pop right up. Look at that. Okay. So now what we're going to do is go ahead and create those batch files. I'm going to exit out of Visual Studio so I can speed things up, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, now that we've exited out of those, we're going to go ahead and make our batch files. Batch files are a pretty important thing to know how to do. They're pretty useful. So go ahead and make a new text document, and instead of having it .txt at the end, we're going to have it .bat. So our first one is decrypt. It's important that you spell this the same way that we programmed it. So that's decrypt.bat. And then our second one, we want to be encrypt.bat. So encrypt.bat. Okay. So we'll start with decrypt. Go ahead and right click and do edit. That should just pop up a blank notepad. Now, what you want to do is look at your drives right now. I have a C drive, a D drive, F, G, I, P. You want to look at, just think of a letter that you don't really see or use that much. So once you have that drive letter in your head, what we're going to just do right now is say TrueCrypt, TrueCrypt.exe. We're going to run this exe /v and then TrueCrypt volume. This is the name of that volume that you made. Whatever you name it, that's what you want to put here. Go ahead and do /l. Now here's where you put the name of the drive that you were looking to use. So for me, I'm going to do Q, drive Q. And then you go ahead and actually do /q. So again, name of your encrypted file, and then this is the drive that you want. So then we go ahead and save that. And now we'll edit encrypt. We'll do the same thing, TrueCrypt.exe /d this time. And then we'll do our drive name, Q /q. And that you save. Okay. And that is that for those. So now we have everything in place, and I'll show you how to go ahead and hide stuff in a minute. And then you should be set, and we'll see how it works. Okay. Now all we want to do is hide every single file except for our GUI exe, because that's going to just manage how we encrypt and decrypt our drive. So what we're going to do is go ahead and do the command prompt. If you don't know how to do that, what that is we go ahead and search for it if you want in your start menu. It'll work the same in Windows 7 and Vista. It'll just look differently, but we just want command prompt. Okay. Once we have that open, we're going to switch to the drive that our flash drive is on. So in this case, it's F. So I just type in F:, and it'll switch me to F. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make every file a hidden type and a system type file. So on most computers it should be hidden. There are ways, fairly easy ways of unhiding them, but we're going to consider that the average layman doesn't know how to do that, because that is true. So what we're going to do is for each file we're going to type attrib, and then what we'll type is the file name. So let's start with decrypt.bat, as you can see up top. And then you're just going to do +H and +S. And as you can see, this, when we refresh, is now gone. So now we're going to do that for each and every file on here except for our GUI. So I'm not going to waste video time doing that. I'm going to go ahead and do that and then restart from the video. Basically just do the same thing, just replace this name with the entire file name with everything except for your GUI. One quick note is for the files that have spaces in them, what you're going to want to do is go ahead and put it in quotes, because otherwise the command prompt will take that as a separate command. So if it's all one word, no big deal, but if it's if there's a space in there, you just put it in quotes and it'll work fine. I'll get back to you in a minute. Okay, once you've typed that for everything, it should just look like this, where you just have your GUI application. So now you can just go ahead and exit out of command prompt, and now we're going to watch the magic happen. So we'll double click on this. We want to decrypt our drive, so we go ahead and click decrypt. That'll make the batch launch the decryption part of TrueCrypt. You type in your password. Maybe if I typed in the correct password, that would help. And then your drive will be decrypted to, if you look at this, local disk Q. So since we specified this to show up on the Q drive, that's where it's going to show up. Now once you decrypt things, this is where you put your files in. So, let's say I have a text file with passwords in it. Go ahead, do everything that you do, and always save it to the Q drive, not your F drive. This is never save anything to here that you want to encrypt. You save it all to here. Once you're done with everything there, what we do is just simply run this again and encrypt it, just like that. You should be done. That should exit out normally. If it doesn't, go ahead and click the X once you see the Q disappear here. And from there, you have encrypted your drive. So it's as easy as that. Only you can unencrypt it with your password. Other than that, you're safe to go after that. And all your files will be there when you go back. I'll just go ahead and show that before I exit us out. Keep in mind that if something goes wrong, as it looks like something might be here, I think a process might still be going on in the background. You can always eject your drive and put it back in. It should work again. But anyway, when we remount this, then you'll see that password.txt is still there. If you have any additional questions or any comments, feel free to leave them below, and I'll try to answer anything that comes my way. I hope this tutorial helped you, and I'll see what I can put up in the coming days. I'll try and think of anything. If you have any suggestions or anything that you want to see be programmed, feel free to drop me a line. Thanks.